Okay, so you've taken your photos and now it's time to edit them. So I borrowed this photo from one of my students, and what I'm going to do here is I opened it up in Photoshop, and now I'm going to take a look and decide what it needs. So just looking at this, uh, there's some area, around here, and then this date, and then maybe even this back here. Overall, I'm just going to clean this up, okay, and really direct our attention where we want it to be, which is on this splash right here. So the first tool I want to use is my crop tool. Okay, so you can find that over here in your tool palette. If you can't find it for whatever reason, go ahead and press the letter C and it'll take you directly to it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go up to your options bar. Remember, this changes depending on the tool you're working with. So before you try to do anything, you should definitely make sure that this is working the way you would like it to. Now, depending on the version of Photoshop that you're working in, up here at the top left, now in my version, it says width by height by resolution, and that's the one that I want. If you're using an older version of Photoshop, you're going to be looking for unconstrained, okay? Now, once I have that selected for this version, I want to make sure, for me, I want to make sure that this is blank, the width and the height are blank, but I'm going to keep the resolution at about 150, okay? Then what I'm going to end up with is this crop marquee right here. And all I need to do is simply drag it in to where I want to focus. Okay, now there are some other issues with this photo too that I definitely would probably have reshot with. Namely, this splash is a tiny bit blurry, and by cropping into it, it's a little bit more emphasized, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so once I have the crop about where I would like it, I'm going to go ahead and press my check mark up here to apply it. And then I want to get rid of this little design back here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use my clone stamp tool. So go ahead and find that. What I did is I simply pressed the letter S and it took me directly to it, or you can try to find it in your tool palette. Okay, so I'm going to shrink my brush size. Again, your options bar, okay, opacity and flow, I'm going to set them at 100%, and my mode is normal. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to option click where I would like it to copy from. I'm going to do this just pretty quick, okay? So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. This is another tutorial that we've done before, so you shouldn't need a whole lot of help in how to use this tool. If I were to be spending a lot of time on this, as you would be, I would be definitely cleaning up any of these little areas in here where the water kind of destroyed the background. Basically, what you don't want is you don't want anything that can distract from your subject. Okay, so whatever that is, you want to make sure you kind of clean that up. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a levels adjustment layer. So I'm going to go down to this adjustment layer button right down here at the bottom of my layers palette. I always call this a yin yang. My students tend to remember it that way. So levels. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my white slider here to brighten this photo up because it was a little bit dark. And I'm going to bring in my black slider here again just to add a little bit of contrast to it. So for those, sometimes when you're working, it's hard to see what you've actually done, but if you come up over here and you press the visibility, see, you can kind of tell that I've added, it just was a little gray before, so now it has a little bit more contrast. And that's it, you guys. That's at least what I would like you to do for when you're trying to improve your the photos that you've done. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.